Hi, Everyfur. Today I am going to discuss my top 10 childhood nightmare fuel moments outside of Sesame Street. I've already discussed um, the things on Sesame Street that scared me as a kid. So today I'm going to be doing the things on other kid shows, books, um, cassette tapes, whatever, like childhood nightmare fuel for me from other sources. So here it goes. Number 10, The Frog Dream in The Bear. The Bear is this nature documentary about about this little bear cub named Uke in the Canadian wilderness. He has his mother tragically shot, and that's bad enough, but what happens what's the scene on the bear that really got me was right after Uke has sees a frog for the first time. He falls asleep and he has a really trippy nightmare about frogs. And you see these frogs with looking all creepy. It looks like a serious bad trip. Like their eyes are bugged out and there's a dark background and their legs are contorting and really disturbing poses. And there's this one scene where he dreams of frogs flying around in the air with really scary teeth and eyes. Yeah, that creeped me out a lot. Number 9, pop-eyed stuffed dinosaurs. Now, one time when I was at this carnival in 1994, they were selling these stuffed dinosaurs that, for prizes that you win at carnival games. But if you look at them, their eyes are bulgy and popped out. They seriously scared me. I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one who ever saw those bulgy-eyed stuffed dinosaurs at um, carnivals, but they were seriously scary. I even found, for a while, that stuffed Pumbaa that came out right when The Lion King came out to be kind of scary because of the similar, in some ways, bulgy eyes. But I quickly lost my fear of that because the eyes on that Pumbaa aren't nearly as bad. And, I'm a hardcore Lion King fan. I can't be scared of that. Number 3, the Hell Nightmare and All Arts Go to Heaven. A lot of people have already talked about how scary this scene was. Yeah, it's really scary, so I don't think I really need to explain it. There are plenty of videos on YouTube. Look up Charlie's Hell Nightmare on All Dogs Go to Heaven. So, number 4, the sorter buzzing sound on Rita Rabbit. I used to play that computer game Rita Rabbit, and in the mid '90s, and on one of the games on Rita Rabbit called Sorter, there's a really creepy buzzer on that. When the sorting machine is getting words to sort out, there's a really creepy buzzing sound. Yeah, there are probably videos of that. I'm not sure, but if you want to look that up, the reason that I don't have videos to refer to is because I am not that good at using YouTube yet, and I need to learn more about technology. But once I do, I'm probably going to make remakes of the top 10 scary moments on Sesame Street as well as this video. I might use the same audio track, but add clips that once I know how to put them on. So number 5, the WGBH logo. And this is a local homebrew because this is a station of PBS that is based right here in Boston. So, yeah, there's been plenty of talk about how the WGBH logo scared a lot of kids. So, okay. Number 6, the Monsters in the Bathroom picture. There's this old kids record called Monsters in the Bathroom from the 80s that I had as a kid. And if you look at that, at the song Monsters in the Bathroom is kind of creepy. It used to scare me, but at the same time I was also obsessed with it. But what really got me is the cover art on the cassette tape. Of course, this was the 80s, so it was on cassette tape. So on the cover of the cassette, there's a really, really scary monster. Basically, a black, phantom like shape with just two huge yellow eyes with black pupils and no other facial features staring at you amid a dark red background. Yeah, I mean, really, what was that kid's musician thinking? So, I really think that was a poor choice on his behalf of cover art. So, number 7. The fade outs of the We Sing Around the Campfire and Rise and Shine tapes. So Raffi, I'm absolutely a big fan of Raffi. I love his social activism, and I love all of his albums, including Rise and Shine. I just remember on my Rise and Shine cassette tape, this was probably not his fault. It might have been due to just, I don't know what it was. Maybe I'm not even hearing it, but I just remember, like, at the very after the the second side of the cassette tape was over, briefly, like while you still hear the track running until the tape, before the tape, cuts off completely done, and you have to start the first side of it again. I just thought I could hear the faint, sound of a few people muttering. Maybe it wasn't, but sometimes those things happen. Maybe Raffi and some of the other musicians were having a studio chat and a little faint bit of it got, onto the track, onto, the tape track, they forgot to edit it out. Maybe they didn't even notice it. But I can't be too mad at Raffi for it. Plenty of people could make that innocent mistake. We Sing, I'm not as big a fan of that series. It's got some cool stuff, but I remember as a kid having We Sing Bible songs, and the conservative religious, take on that I really didn't care for. However, I had this other We Sing tape called We Sing Around the Campfire. Now, most of the songs on that were cool. That also had some, religious songs, which, if you, like I said, I have a very liberal take on religion, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the Wiesen Company's seemingly conservative view of Christianity. But, what really got to me on this cassette tape wasn't that. It was, again, it was at the end of the second half of the cassette, but it was while it was still going. It was right after the last song, which was Taps, which I find kind of creepy in and of itself, maybe because they play it at funerals. But after Taps was over, you had the people who were, on the cassette tape. There were these people at a campfire at camping in the woods, and at the end of that, you could hear them playing their guitar, and of course they were saying, "Hey, that was fun. Let's sing next time," something like that. But the way they were playing the guitar, it just was a really sinister minor key. What the fuck? I don't know what the fuck it was kind of melody. So, if you could ever find it, in fact, when I was a kid, I had the tape was originally called We Sing Around the Campfire, but in the 90s they changed it to We Sing Sing-Alongs. So if you want to hear that, you should look up We Sing Sing-Alongs, because it no longer goes by the name We Sing Around the Campfire. Okay, number 8. Oh, sorry, I guess I'm going, sorry, my number scheme is all messed up. I'm reading this off my iPhone, so I started out like countdown, and now I'm going count up. I'm sorry about this, but, this is, 10. I did narrow it down to 10, and it was pretty easy to do, because there's really not that much, aside from Sesame Street, that really scared me, other than about 10 things. So, yeah. So, the Paul is dead clues. I sometimes talked about this, and by now I think it's funny. I think the stuff about the Beatles using LSD and creepy messages and music, if you play records backward, is actually really funny and fascinating now. But when I first found out about it, I was in middle school, and I did initially find it very scary. I still honestly find some of the songs like, Revolution 9, of course, as well as I'm the Walrus creepy if I hear them, but I'm, not as creeped out by them now. So, what else? There is a seriously scary book about the Paul is Dead clues called The Walrus Was Paul. I've read it, and it is pretty creepy. But once you become a fan of all that, backwards messages, conspiracy theory stuff, Plus, I'm a huge fan of 60s and 70s stuff in general. It's pretty cool, but I'm sure the book would still creep me out now. Especially, it has a really creepy cover of a picture of Paul McCartney with an egg over one of his eyes, and a creepy word message hidden in the title on the title page. Okay, the next one was the Samson and Sally suffocation scene. There is this just for kids cartoon. I think it's from Sweden, from the 80s, called Samson and Sally. It's about a pod of whales who I think it's like this one whale named Samson goes. I think he meets another whale named Sally, and they're trying to go on a journey to find Moby Dick, who in the story is seen as a great hero to the whales. And I agree. When I read the book when I was in high school, and my interpretation of the book is that Moby Dick is a great hero to the non-human world, and Ahab represents the asshole human who wants to kill non-human animals because of his own prejudices against the non-human world. So of course Moby Dick was he would fight and capsize the ship that tried to kill him, and also fight against other ships trying to kill him or other whales. So Samson and Sally go out on a journey to find Moby Dick. So there's this one scene where Samson and Sally in their pod, is I don't remember too much of the movie. Maybe their whole pod was trying to find Moby Dick, or maybe their whole pod was going on another journey, or maybe it was Samson and Sally found him later and the pod was on another journey. I really don't remember, but there's this one scene where the whale pod is they come across a giant oil slick and they have to cross it to get across to where they're going. And they try to, as much as they can, to hold their breath while swimming under the oil slick. And this one whale says, "I have to go up for air." And they said, "Don't you dare." And the whale does. He goes up for air. And if, whales suffocate that way, so you hear him screaming, I'm suffocating. And then he falls down dead. But just imagine that whale's extreme, unbearable agony as he suffocates. That's very disturbing, but at the same time it does show kids the reality of what humans are doing to the planet. And, I'm a very anti-fossil fuel activist, and that just, I mean, Naomi Klein, really, needs to not see that and see how that's, her work, really is inspired. And I got really into This Changes Everything after watching Samson and Sally. Samson and Sally, that scene is one of the ways that I became as much of a hippie as I am. So the last thing that scared me, the last childhood nightmare fuel, was the castle scenes from Super Mario Brothers. I was never a big gamer, and I don't play video games that much. Sometimes I do, depending on, usually if it's with friends, if I'm at a fun party, or at a FurCon where we're playing games, or at an arcade. I've played the Super Mario Brothers, the original game, a little bit, and those castle scenes on Super Mario Brothers, yeah, they're very creepy. They have the lava and the revolving fireballs that can kill Mario, and the music. That musical theme to the castle scene I find really creepy. So, yeah, anything with like fire and lava, that looks like hell has always terrified me. That's why I was so terrified by the Hell Nightmare in All Dogs Go to Heaven. The castle scenes remind me a lot of that. And just like the other thing was like the skeleton demons. And I think you both have creatures like that. I don't remember the castle scenes too much. I don't know if there were any skeleton demons, but I know that there was like something like, skeleton creature demons, something like that. But, I'll have to see that scene again on YouTube or play the game again. But, yeah, there it goes. There they are, my 10, childhood nightmare fuel moments outside of Sesame Street.